Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Travel Tech. So we finally have a Korean dashcam to be featured on my channel for the first time. I'm talking about the FineVU GX35. Yes, this dashcam has a Starvis2 sensor and gets a Quad HD resolution, along with getting a serious extended list of features for which this single video might not be enough. Anyway, I'm going to try to cover up most of the features, if not in detail, at least briefly, so that you get a complete idea before you actually make that purchase decision. You're watching Travel Tech. Let's get started. So here's the camera which I've been waiting to unbox for quite some time, the GX35 by FineVU. A very minimalistic sort of a package, and on the front you find the picture of the camera, and in bold letters you see the naming, that GX35, and you also see that it is made in Korea. And they've done the marketing right by putting all the important features of the camera right on the box. So to give you a quick glance, this is a Quad HD front and a Full HD rear camera. It has the latest Sony Starvis2 sensor. It supports HDR, it has auto night vision, it has built-in GPS and Wi-Fi, it has ADAS Plus and a power saving parking mode, a speed camera alert, a smart time-lapse mode, AI damage detection, low voltage cutoff, and FineVU Wi-Fi app. So as soon as you open up the box, you get a thank you card, and here is the dash camera. And I must say, this is a very compact size dash cam. So as you are seeing on the screen right now, it sort of fits in the palm of my hand more or less, and is the size of about my credit card, I think, maybe even slightly lesser. But before we dive into the features of this dash cam, let's quickly take a look at what else do we find inside the box. So here is the rear camera, the 1080p Full HD rear camera. So you have this 3M sticker attachment, and you also have a sticker covering the lens of the camera. Let's see how much does it rotate. So as you can see, the camera is rotatable, but to a small extent, about 30 degrees, I must say, 30 to 40 degrees max. On the back you have the FineVU branding. On the left side there's nothing, and on the right side you have a port in order to connect it to a power source. So first of all, you have this hardwire cable, and as you can see, this is the DC port for the front camera, and on the other end you have this ACC, VCC and the ground wires. They've also given a sticker which indicates the color coding for the ACC, VCC and the grounding, in case you do get confused while doing the actual hardwiring. Following that, you have the mount for the front camera. So let's just slide in the camera. There you go. A very easy to use mechanism for the sliding mount of the front camera. So you have the ball joint at one end, so you can loosen or tighten the nut here in order to increase or decrease the flexibility of the joint. Once you find the right angle, you just need to tighten the nut and it's done. So very easily attachable, and a slide to open attachment for the front cam. So this is the rear camera port. So as you can see, it has got two pins. It has got two 3.5mm connectors. One is a L-shaped connector and the other is a straight connector. Okay, so first of all, you have a spare sticker for the rear camera. Let's keep it here. You also get a spare sticker for the front camera's windshield mount, which goes here. So let's keep it here. You have 4 clips which you can use to conceal the wiring of the dash cam. And finally, you get a micro SD card adapter, where you can insert the micro SD card into this adapter and plug in this adapter into your laptop. Here's the last item in the box. So this is a GPS logger. Interestingly, it comes with a GPS logger which is external to the unit and doesn't come built in. So you need to plug in this port into the GPS socket of the front dash cam. Where is it? Yeah, so here is the GPS socket. So this plugs in here, and you also need to attach the GPS logger. You have this 3M sticker at the back for the GPS logger. So this goes and sticks onto the windshield, usually at the top portion, and then you get a GPS signal. And this is the last item kept at the bottom, the quick start guide and the warranty details. So you can dive down into this quick start guide. I mean, they have given everything in detail, from starting with all the contents that have been given in the box the various operations, the various LED lights and their indications, the app usage. So even if you're someone who is doing this for the first time, if you just go through this user manual, it will be pretty useful for you. So these are all the things which you get inside the box. The rear camera power cable, the front camera power cable, which is basically a hard wiring kit cable. You get these two extra stickers for the rear camera and the front camera, the main front cam and the rear camera as well. So I have already attached the mount to the front cam. Then you have these 4 clips for the wiring. You have a micro SD card adapter. You have an external GPS logger which attaches to the front cam, and then lastly you have a quick start user guide. So now let's move on and take a quick look at the front camera, the super compact sized Quad HD front cam. So at the front you have this FineVU branding, and on the other side you have the speaker. The lens is placed right in the middle with a sticker covering it for protection. If we take a look at the top of the dash cam, you have this power port which connects to the main power cable. Then you have the rear connection port which connects to the rear camera, and on the other side you have the GPS port which connects to the external GPS logger. There are some ventilation holes also provided. In the middle you have the cradle joint which attaches to the windshield mount. Taking a look at the back, you have the recording LED at the left. In the middle you find the Wi-Fi LED, and on the right you find the GPS LED light. There are 2 buttons below it. On the left is the recording cum mic button, and on the right you have the Wi-Fi button in order to turn on or turn off the Wi-Fi hotspot. At the right bottom corner of the dash cam you have the mic slot. So on the other side you have this power switch cum lock. So in this, when you turn on the switch, it completely seals off the micro SD card, so you won't be able to remove the micro SD card when the dash cam is turned on, and only if you turn off the camera manually with the switch, it gives you access to the micro SD card slot. Only then you can remove it. Taking a look at the rear camera, at the middle you have this rear camera lens. Then you have the windshield mount on top. You actually have a LED light right here concealed next to the lens in order to monitor the status of the dash cam, and on the other side you have the rear connection port which connects to the rear camera power cable. So a very compact look, a very minimalistic look from both front and the rear dash cams. I mean, I really like this a lot. So let's move on and take a quick look at all the features that this dash cam provides. So starting with the front camera resolution, it gives a resolution of 5 megapixels coupled with a Starvis2 IMX675 sensor. The rear camera has a resolution of 2 megapixel coupled with a CMOS sensor. The front camera has a resolution of 2560x1440, that's Quad HD, and the rear camera has a resolution of 1920x1080, that is Full HD. The field of view for the front camera is about 147 degrees, and the rear camera has a field of view of 123 degrees. In regular driving mode, the dashcam provides a frame rate of 30 fps and 15 fps, and in case of smart time lapse it gives a fps of 6. In parking mode it is similar, 30 fps and 15. In the smart time lapse mode it gives 2 fps. The GX35 has an external GPS module and a built-in Wi-Fi. It can support a micro SD card from a minimum of 32 GB up to 256 GB. It should be a class 10 UHS 1 card as a minimum. It is super capacitor based, and it also has a built-in mic and a speaker. It has a high temperature cutoff via AI heat monitoring. The GX35 is supported by the FineVU app for Android and iOS. Some additional features of this dashcam also include the auto night vision along with HDR. It has a power saving parking mode and a smart time lapse mode. It has a built-in ADAS which includes FVMA and LDWS, which stand for front vehicle move alert and lane departure warning system. It has AI heat monitoring and low voltage cutoff. It also has memory storage allocation and a speed camera alert built in within it. There are various recording modes of this dashcam which I have provided on the screen right now. I'm not going to get into the detail of this, so you can just pause the video and take a deep look at all the modes that this dashcam provides. So moving on to the number plate readability of this camera, you can see in this particular instant in this snapshot, I have paused the video at a point where the car in front is about a distance of 15 to 20 feet away from my car, and if I zoom in at the number plate, a very readable but slightly blurry and a softer looking image. Now of course, if this was just a 1080p camera, the numbers wouldn't have been readable as they are right now. Since this is Quad HD, you can more or less make out each letter and number, but the overall image does look much softer than what was expected from it. So here's a snapshot from the rear camera where the car just behind me is about a distance of 10 to 15 feet, and if we take a look at its number plate, A very good number plate read considering this is only a 1080p camera. So in bright daylight conditions at a close range, both front and the rear cameras are doing their jobs perfectly well. There's no major issue in terms of number plate readability, but you shouldn't be expecting an excellent number plate readability at a higher distance of 20 or more feet. Moving on to the night sample, so here's a snapshot where the car parked right in front is about a distance of 15 to 20 feet, and if we take a look at its number plate, which is directly under the glare of my headlight, the Starvis2 sensor doing its job really well. You are able to make out each letter and number. So if this camera didn't have a Starvis2 sensor, this would have been a probably whitewashed image. So because of the Starvis2, a very good, a very decent read of the number plate, and this is what the Starvis2 is designed for. Moving on to the sample from the rear camera, I specifically took out this snapshot to show you the kind of difference the rear camera brings in terms of distance. So at this particular distance of about 25 to 30 feet away from the car, you get more or less a high glare look because of the headlights of the car which are facing towards the rear camera. You won't be able to read any number plates at such high distance. But if I show you another sample of the same car which has moved even closer than the previous snapshot, now at this distance the camera is able to compensate for the high exposure due to headlights, and you will be able to read the number plates. So this is at a distance of about 10 to 15 feet. So zooming in on the image, you can see that the number plate readability is very good at a very close range, and 1080p cameras generally really excel at number plate readability at such close distances. Showing you the overall video quality from both front and the rear camera during daytime. The front camera has a resolution of 1440p at a frame rate of 30 fps. It has about 16,000 kbps of bit rate and 117 MB of file size. The rear camera, as said previously, is a 1080p camera at 30 fps. It has a bitrate of 12,000 kbps and 89 MB per minute of file size. Both the front and the rear camera qualities do look pretty good at first instance, although the front camera slightly looks better due to the Starvis2 sensor. There is a wee bit of lesser sharpness and contrast I feel in the overall video quality from the front camera, but that's not a major issue with it, and it's serving the purpose what it's designed for. This is more than enough for any sort of evidence which you might want to collect from this dashcam. Moving on to the night footage comparison, the rear camera quality does surprisingly look good and matches right up to the point of the front camera. This is really good from the GX35 and I'm really impressed with it. The front camera also provides a decent footage, but as said previously, does miss out a slight bit on the sharpness and the contrast factor, but also that's not going to be a major issue. The field of view of both cameras is sufficient enough to cover most of the areas around the car, and this is kind of the image you should be expecting from any 1440p dash camera. The Starvis2 sensor is the cherry on top. So the overall video quality from both front and the rear camera is really good for what it's worth, and you can have a complete peace of mind if you are planning on buying this camera. So now let's move on and show you the app interface and all the in-app settings you get within the FineVU app. Alright, so there are certain things which you need to know about this dashcam. Specifically, I'm talking about the app usage and the app experience. So currently, as you're seeing, I have opened up the FineVU app on my Android smartphone, and it's currently connected to the dashcam. So you get this dashcam connected notification right on top. So if you click on the live view button, so here's the front camera live view which is being shown on the smartphone screen. This only shows in landscape mode and it doesn't come in portrait mode. You can also switch the camera by clicking on the rear button right down below on the screen. Getting back to the front screen is similar. There's also a snapshot button right here. There are some settings option also given here. So let's just close this. So following this, there are some important things which I wanted to show you in order to give you a complete idea about this camera. So for that purpose, let's head into the stopping video recording settings of this dashcam. So as soon as you head into the settings, the dashcam stops recording, and you will have to alter the settings which you need to alter to get the camera back into recording mode. So on top, first of all, you have the mic enable or disable button. Then you have the volume of the camera. You can control it 2 via the numbers. 3, 4, sound off. So you can also mute the sound of the dashcam. So let's just currently keep it at 1. Then you have the time settings which you can click on and adjust the time according to your geographical location. Following that, you have the environment option. So if we head into that, you have the Wi-Fi password setting where you can change the password. You have the Wi-Fi frequency band, either 2.4 GHz or 5 GHz. You can select that. Then you have the speed unit, kilometers per hour or miles per hour. Then you have the speed display to be shown on the recorded video. You can also get some text overlay, your custom text, whatever you want to display on the recorded screen. Then you have the rear record direction. You can flip the rear camera view horizontally, or you can keep it as standard mode. Then you have the rear security LED option, which you can turn off completely, or you can keep it on always, or you can enable it only while running in the parking mode. You also have the LED brightness levels to automatic, level 3, level 2, level 1, and you can also completely turn it off based on your requirement.
Changes have been applied.
So as soon as you head back to the main menu, always the dash cam saves the settings. The following that, you have the camera option. So if we click on that, you have the option to enable or disable the HDR of the camera. Following that, you have the rear video brightness option, which you can set at standard, dark or bright as based on your requirement. Following that, you have the memory card options. If we click on that, so this is a very important option, and this is what I mainly wanted to focus on in this video. In case of the memory card, you have something called as memory partition. So this means the dash camera prioritizes certain recordings over the others, and what it prioritizes is based on your requirement and what you select within this memory partition option. So you can select driving priority, wherein it gives you this colored chart at the bottom, which shows that 70% of the storage space will be used for driving, 10% will be allocated for driving events, the yellow 15% for parking motion, and the orange 5% for parking events. If you want the event priority, driving event will increase to 20, parking motion 20, and parking event 15. If you want the memory card to allocate higher space for only parking monitoring, as you can see, the parking monitoring went up to 45 as soon as I clicked on the parking priority mode. So this is based on your requirement. And at last option, you have the only driving only option, wherein the memory card won't be allocated any space for parking. 85% space will be left out for driving recordings, and 15% will be left for driving event recordings. So at the bottom, you have set override protection, within which you have 4 options: event, parking, manual, and motion. On top, you have the format option for the memory card. Following the memory card option, you have the recording options. If we click on that, you have 2 distinctive options here: driving recording and parking recording. So in the driving recording, you can select a standard video recording, or you can select the smart time lapse, wherein it records only after an event, or you can select a 15 FPS recording. You can also set the sensitivity of the G sensor to completely off, low, medium or high. Then you can also set the recording quality to standard or high quality. Then you also get the same options for parking recording as well. If you head into the parking recording, you can select a motion sensing recording or a smart time lapse. Then you also have a 15 FPS recording or a complete power saving recording, or you can turn off the parking recording completely. You also can set the sensitivity for the G sensor and the motion sensor. You also get the recording quality setting, either to be set at standard or high quality. So these 2 options are more or less similar, and you have a wide range of options in terms of getting a parking recording from your dash cam. Following that, you have the voice guide options. If we click on that, you can enable or disable those options wherein you want or you don't require the voice notifications. Then you have the ADAS and the safe driving option. If we click on that, you have this FVMA and LDWS option. FVMA stands for Forward Vehicle Motion Alert, and LDWS stands for Lane Departure Warning System. So you can set the speed for the lane departure warning system based on your requirement. You can also turn on or turn off the FVMA option. Then you have the power option for this dash cam, wherein it gives you a wide range of setting. So this is very important, and I specifically wanted to show you this. So there are low voltage settings which you can set, or you can also turn off completely. You have the lowest voltage setting starting from 11.6 volt in a 12 volt car battery, or a 23.2 volts in a 24 volt car battery. So you have this 11.8, 12 volts, 12.2. Hybrid options are also given: 12.8, 13 volts, 13.2 and 13.4 volts. Only auxiliary battery option is also given. So cutoff time setting is also provided to prevent vehicle discharge. Power will be cut off if only one of the settings option is met. So you can set the maximum amount of hour for which you want the parking monitoring to run, starting from a minimum of 3 hours up to 48 hours. Then you have the winter settings as well, wherein the cutoff 0.2 volts earlier to prevent battery discharge in winter condition. You can enable or disable this based on your environmental settings. Then lastly, you have the dashcam reset option. If you click on that, the dashcam will reset back to its original factory settings. So these are some of the most unique and important settings which I wanted to share with you guys, without which this video wouldn't have been really complete. Okay, I know I've extended the video a lot, but in case if you do have any doubts or queries, or you want to ask any questions about any of the features of this dashcam, you can always write that down in the comments and try to get back to you as soon as possible. So what I personally liked about the GX35 is its super small, super compact form factor, the cherry on top being the Starvis2 sensor, and a plethora of options concerning the parking monitoring. Well, parking monitoring is equally important as your regular driving monitoring footages. So this camera is a sort of an all-rounder, covering up most of the important aspects a dash cam needs to have. Also, having a dual channel is definitely a greater upgrade than having only a front-only single channel dash cam. The FineVU GX35 with its rear camera is a complete package. So this dash cam does get a thumbs up from my side. So guys, at the end, I do like to note that if you recognize the effort which has gone behind in making this video and bringing this in front of you, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you get notified each time I upload a new video. Also, don't forget to like my Facebook and the Instagram pages so that you get some even more interesting updates. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.